It happened in France at the end of the year 1894. Alfred Dreyfus, a Jewish officer of the French General Staff, was accused and convicted of espionage for Germany. The verdict, lifelong deportation to Devil's Island, was unanimously adopted. The trial took place behind closed doors. Out of an allegedly voluminous dossier of the prosecution, only the so-called bordereau was shown. This was a letter, supposedly in Dreyfus's handwriting, addressed to the German military attaché Schwarzkoppen. In July 1895, Colonel Picard became head of the Information Division of the General Staff. In May 1986, he told the Chief of the General Staff, Boisdeffre, that he had convinced himself of Dreyfus's innocence and of the guilt of another officer, Major Volsin Esterhazy. 6 months later, Picard was removed to a dangerous post in Tunisia. At the same time, Bernard Lazare, on behalf of Dreyfus's brothers, published the first pamphlet of the affair, Une erreur judiciaire, la vérité sur l'affaire Dreyfus. In June 1897, Picard informed Scheurer-Kessner, Vice President of the Senate, of the facts of the trials and of Dreyfus's innocence. In November 1897, Clemenceau started his fight for re-examination of the case. 4 weeks later, Zola joined the ranks of the Dreyfusards. J'accuse was published by Clemenceau's newspaper in January 1898. At the same time, Picard was arrested. Zola, tried for calumny of the army, was convicted by both the ordinary tribunal and the Court of Appeal. In August 1898, Esterhazy was dishonourably discharged because of embezzlement. He at once hurried to a British journalist and told him that he, and not Dreyfus, was the author of the bordereau, which he had forged in Dreyfus's handwriting on orders from Colonel Sandherr, his superior and former chief of the counter-espionage division. A few days later, Colonel Henry, another member of the same department, confessed forgeries of several other pieces of the secret Dreyfus dossier and committed suicide. Thereupon the Court of Appeal ordered an investigation of the Dreyfus case. In June 1899, the Court of Appeal annulled the original sentence against Dreyfus of 1894. The revision trial took place in Rennes in August. The sentence was made 10 years' imprisonment because of alleviating circumstances. A week later, Dreyfus was pardoned by the President of the Republic. The World Exposition opened in Paris in April 1900. In May, when the success of the exposition was guaranteed, the Chamber of Deputies, with overwhelming majority, voted against any further revision of the Dreyfus case. In December of the same year, all trials and lawsuits connected with the affair were liquidated through a general amnesty. In 1903, Dreyfus asked for a new revision. His petition was neglected until 1906, when Clemenceau had become Prime Minister. In July 1906, the Court of Appeal annulled the sentence of Rennes and acquitted Dreyfus of all charges. The Court of Appeal, however, had no authority to acquit. It should have ordered a new trial. Another revision before a military tribunal would, in all probability, and despite the overwhelming evidence in favour of Dreyfus, have led to a new conviction. Dreyfus, therefore, was never acquitted in accordance with the law, and the Dreyfus case was never really settled. The reinstatement of the accused was never recognized by the French people, and the passions that were originally aroused never entirely subsided. As late as 1908, 9 years after the pardon, and 2 years after Dreyfus was cleared, when, at Clemenceau's insistence, the body of Émile Zola was transferred to the Pantheon, Alfred Dreyfus was openly attacked in the street. A Paris court acquitted his assailant and indicated that it dissented from the decision which had cleared Dreyfus. Even stranger is the fact that neither the First nor the Second World War has been able to bury the affair in oblivion. At the behest of the Action Française, the Précis de l'affaire Dreyfus was republished in 1924 and has since been the standard reference manual of the anti-Dreyfusards.